What's up, webheads, guys? I'm Mike Spider Slayer. Welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And I'm doing it once and for all, guys. Dark Web is right around the corner. I've covered Spider events forever and things like that, but I am now going to make this a weekly series, Spider-Man Weekly. Any Spider-Man comic book that comes out for the week, if I have a chance to read it, I'm going to cover it. And this week, we had one Spider book that came out, and that is Amazing Spider-Man. That's issue 11. We get the return of the Hobgoblin. So hopefully Spider-Man fans will enjoy this series. So, even if you don't buy Spider-Man comics, at least you get to follow it here, right? So I was highly anticipating this one. The problem with Spider-Man comics and just comics in general, they always get interrupted by events. And we got that the past 2 weeks. We got the Gala thing, and then we got the Axe Judgment thing. But now we get back on track here, and it's the return of the Goblins. You got Norman, you got Kingsley, and you got Ned Leeds in this book. Freaking awesome, right? And I love this story. I thought it was really good. The artwork is what you can expect from John Romita Jr. at this point. So if you're reading the book, it's kind of like, all right, let's move on. We know what we can expect from John Romita Jr. If you get that fill-in artist every once in a while, hey, that's great. So let's talk about the story here on how it opens up. So you get this story, it opens up, you got Betty who's, talking to Peter. Peter sends the baby, Winston, a gift. And she's like, yeah, man, he can't use it until he's like 10 or 12 years old, right? And then she hears this noise in the baby's bedroom. And then all of a sudden you see Ned Leeds in his Hobgoblin costume, and he's holding his child in his hand. And he goes, I won't let them hurt him. And she's like freaking out, right? And it's like, that's kind of creepy, dude. You thought he was better, cured from the Hobgoblin stuff. No, that's not the case here. And the one thing you also get in this book is that you get Peter and Kamala Khan are working together, but they don't know each other's identities, which I thought was it's kind of funny, but it's a way to incorporate Kamala, and they're both very smart people, right? So I think that's actually kind of cool. The other thing that I like about this comic book is the Felicia and Peter relationship. If we're not going to have Mary Jane in this comic book anytime soon, if they're not going to have any type of relationship or something like that, Peter needs to move on. So why not have Felicia and Peter together? I like that idea. I'm a huge Black Cat fan personally, and I love their relationship. I think it's great. It's always been on again, off again. And you know what? If Peter was to end up with Felicia in a long-term relationship or marriage, that's okay for me, I'm not holding my breath with Mary Jane and Peter. I don't know if Marvel ever is going to get them back together. There's totally something against them getting them together. So this is the next best thing. These two are superheroes. So again, put them together. At least Peter is in some kind of relationship. And I like how he asked out Felicia. So he had the balls to do it. So really cool moment there. The next thing we wind up seeing is we get another exchange with Peter and Ned Leeds, and he goes to Peter and says, I want to take out Norman Osborn once and for all, right? And so Peter is just like, no, he's taking the turn. I'm not with you on this journey. And Ned's like, fine, I'll do it on my own. I'll take him out as myself, right? So the cool thing is that we find out that Kingsley is making his return back, and he's threatening Norman Osborn to give him his assets back. As back in the day, to keep Kingsley out of jail, Norman said, well, you gotta give me your entire empire. So he basically bought out Kingsley so he can do his magic and keep him off. Kingsley's come back. He wants his money back. He's threatening Norman, and Norman's taking it, right? Because he's turned over that new leaf, and he's going to give him the paperwork and do whatever it is. The cool thing about this issue too is you kind of get a foreshadowing of this Dark Web as you get to see the new armor of the Golden Goblin here being put together as these two are having this conversation. I thought that was really kind of cool. So the next thing we wind up seeing is you get to see that deal happen between Kingsley and Norman. But the really gruesome thing is you get to see the current Hobgoblin, which you're assuming is Ned Leeds, and he breaks up the whole entire deal, and he's like, madness rides the wind, and it's just awesome. And he actually drew him really good, so I thought that was kind of cool here. And then you go back to Yorktown where Winston was sleeping. Mom is sleeping as well, and it looks like leads wind up drugging mom, so maybe he might take the baby or so he could go out of town. I don't know, but it was a really, really good issue. Probably one of the best issues that I've read so far when it's come to the Amazing Spider-Man this volume. Again, I'm a huge fan of the Hobgoblin character. I think a lot of characters had good character moments and good interactions with each other. So I think Zeb Wells is on to something special here when it comes to this Hobgoblin arc. Where it goes for Norman is still yet to be determined, but I think this puts him on the glider again to become that Gold Goblin, and obviously this whole Dark Web event. So yeah, guys, when it comes to the Amazing Spider-Man issue 11, if I'm going to give this a star rating, I got to give this one probably a 4 out of 5. The only thing that holds this book back, honestly, is the artwork. I can imagine a really top-tier artist on this book, how this book would actually look, but the story is there, the character interactions there, the relationship is there. It's starting to develop to something nice. When we get to those other 6 months, I know it's somewhere down the road, but just enjoy the story of what we have right now, and we'll see where it goes. So, guys, there is this week's episode of Spider-Man Weekly. Hopefully you'll enjoy this new series, and why don't you consider clicking on to some of my other content. In fact, this is my series called After the Pull, where I take 5 of my most highly anticipated comic books, and I see if they live up to the hype. And of course, guys, take a minute to grab that subscribe button. And remember, keep buying, keep collecting, but most importantly, always read those comics. Guys, I'll see you real soon. Take care. Bye.